Good evening and welcome to the NTA2 News. I am Adeola Omokivi. Rains and swampy nature of Ijedodo are greatly hampering the various efforts of emergency management agencies trying to reach the explosion point of pipeline explosion since yesterday. As of today, the agencies say they still have some meters of platform to construct that may take up to tomorrow before they could reach the explosion area. Emergency agencies are intensifying efforts to put out the fire once the rain stops. However, officials of NNPC say pumping of products will resume latest by tomorrow evening when the fire would have been put out. They were forced to vacate the Apapa-Ijora roads for constituting nuisance following a 48-hour ultimatum issued by the Lagos state government in May this year. Barely 28 days down the line, trucks and tankers are not only back on the roads but are stationed on bridges, thereby making life difficult for other road users in the state. Jesuto Moses has situation reports on the gridlock.
The situation on Ikorodu Road was seriously tight, for there was no alternative route as it was bumper to fender even on the adjoining streets. The situation was not different for those going towards the island or coming there from. For those going towards the marina, the Apapa traffic was a familiar case as it was usually a traffic direction for those working on the island. It was, however, an unusual situation for those in the opposite direction, which was usually against the traffic.
For how long have you been in traffic?
Actually, about an hour plus now.
From where?
I'm coming from Lekki.
This is my second 2 hours. I'm still in the island. I'm looking at another 2 hours.
I will try from Ujelema to this place to see whether I can get it off. Then now there's no problem.
The vehicle that was responsible for the unusual traffic could be said to have obeyed the Lagos traffic law, as it was said to have broken down at about 1 o'clock in the morning. It was, however, an irony that the truck was loaded beyond capacity, resulting in the condition that created the traffic. Despite several efforts of the Babatunde Fasola administration to tackle the Lagos traffic challenges, many factors that are responsible for the situation are yet far from over, as they still remain a puzzle for the new administration to solve. In Lagos, Jesuton Moses, NTA News.
Emergency agencies and the state government are doing their best to educate drivers on how to be more cautious. Other factors have contributed to this anomaly. To discuss this issue, we have the Zonal Commanding Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps Zone 2 Headquarters, Lagos, Assistant Corps Marshal Nselbong Akpabio, in our studios. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's talk about the tankers that is constantly being a menace in Lagos. Why are the tankers toppling all of a sudden?
Why are the tankers toppling suddenly? I cannot be able to tell that except the driver that involved. But however, there are factors that are always brought about road traffic crashes. The driver may be overspeeding, driving above the recommended speed limits. Yeah. The probably driver is tired, fatigue could come in as well. Poor vehicle maintenance, another factor that leads to road traffic crashes. Overloading. Then there's some drivers, when they drive for a long distance and coming to queue up and wait for the loading of their trucks, if by peradventure they delay 2 days, 3 days for a week, and immediately they are loaded, they want to catch up with the time spent, the wasted period of time. In that process, they are going to do so many things that ordinarily they wouldn't have able to do it. And we have checked beyond what causes crashes on the road to go to profile the drivers themselves. Are they really drivers of the tankers? Are they supposed to drive such vehicles? Are they qualified to drive such vehicles? What is the ages of these drivers we are seeing on the road? What they're supposed to be, if at all they are allowed to drive the vehicle? Are they actually assigned to that vehicle, or are they like motor park boys, what they call conductors. Though sometimes when the main driver is tired or is sick, cannot continue the journey, we want to assist another driver. It's okay, take this, go for a run, come back and give me returns. So we x-ray so many things that lead to these crashes. We are working towards solving the problem.
Okay. But these tankers, they work with specific companies, so to say. Can't the companies caution them or fines be slammed on those companies so they will come out hard on their drivers to drive carefully?
Yes, our collaboration with the tanker unions, the Nupeng Tanker Drivers Union, the NATO, among others, we have what we call Safety Managers Program. It is expected that companies that have 5 vehicles and above need to register with the Federal Road Safety Corps and be trained and certified to fit to run such organization. Okay. And oftentimes we get reports from the safety managers of such companies on the behavior of one driver or the other and the punishment meted to such drivers. We also have a stakeholders meeting with them. Recently there was a program we run in Lagos where all the transport operators, land transport operators come together. We have a rally at Delta Motor Park. We discussed these issues, specifically the attitude of the driver. So punishment immediate to driver that disobey. Like today, before my arrival at the studio, a driver misbehaved on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, a truck driver, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. When he was asked to stop, he refused to stop for the first patrol team, and immediately they alerted the next patrol team. He was apprehended. He became very, very unruly, and the patrol team decided to impound the vehicle. As I speak, the truck is parked at our premises. The driver needs to go through mandatory training program before you can allow him to go with the vehicle. We will not stop there. We want to evaluate that particular driver. Is he supposed to be the driver of that vehicle? Was he authorized to drive that vehicle at that point in time? So we are doing this conjunction with the safety managers in their various companies to know that drivers that are driving trucks on the road are qualified to be the one driving the vehicle on the road.
And now, what are the possible hazards that these tanker accidents pose? You know, for a period of time, we're experiencing containers, you know, causing accidents, falling and killing and all of that. So what possible hazards do these tanker accidents pose?
One is that the economic loss to the nation. You know, if you x-ray the road traffic crashes nationwide and all over the countries, in a particular year, 12 months period, road traffic crashes economic loss is about 3% of the GDP. If you look at the 3% of the 4.something trillion naira in Nigeria, that money is enough to develop estates. That's the economic loss to a nation. Then the other hazard is the loss of human life. No amount of money insurance can pay to bring back the life of the lost one. It's not possible. Then that will affect the family. The children cannot go back to school, those that are married. The immediate family members will suffer. It will affect the development of a nation. Some die with their potentials within. And not all of them are adults. Some of them are young ones, are still developing. So their potentials are wasted completely. So the x-ray of economic loss, the life loss, and among other hazards, people are suffering now. Like the one at Yanipaja and Idumu, the one at Anambra States. You see, if you look at the companies that got bonds, all the firms, all the small scale firms that got bonds, it will take a long time for them to come back. Except the government will just bankroll the expenditures and set them up again to go back to business. Otherwise, some of them are not praying. Some of them may go back to do something that's not ideal for society.
Okay. Now, are the FRSC and other emergency agencies equipped to handle disasters that come with tanker accidents?
Definitely, yes. We are well equipped. That's why the Corps was established, to ensure the reduction of road traffic crashes and to collaborate with other government agencies, private individuals, corporate citizens that have things to do with road safety. And in terms of emergency, yes, we have coordinated units. But once we arrive at the scene of a crash, we take charge of what's happening there and inform police, inform NEMA, SEMA, and the case may be, fire service, they come in. In fact, when one is a crash and we're informed, in less than 5 minutes, an agency, a response team need to be there. And I would say, oftentimes, because of the promptness, life have been saved. Assuming that we are not there, maybe nobody would have been able to even tell the story. So we are well equipped to handle that. I'm not saying that 100% any government agency is able to handle everything, but to a level, to an extent that we can rescue life, can respond promptly, yes, we do. But we still need more support to beat up.
Okay, so everybody needs to contribute to help these agencies. And finally, sir, what should government do to put an end to this trend and the message we have for the drivers?
What the government needs to do, one, is to encourage and equip the response agencies to be able to handle, if at all, incidents of this nature. And again, to create an enabling environment. Like where the tankers are now parked on the road, what we are doing now is to ensure the government creates a tanker park. Whereby instead of coming to park on the streets, waiting to be loaded, they should move to a safe place and park their vehicles there. When it's their turn, you move in one by one to load the vehicle. I'm very, very sure the current government in Lagos State has set up a committee within 2 weeks to work out what should be done to stop this menace. We are hopefully, when they commence work they are doing now and submit the reports, this will be things of the past. Again, we are also working with various tanker union, transport agencies all over the country, not only in Lagos State, all over the country. The court want to restore sanity to the road. Okay. And FRSC is bent on making sure that enforcement is total. All our officers and men in all the formations have been told to be very, very strict in enforcement and remove those recalcitrant drivers from the road so that we can have sane road. People who walk on the road should be human beings. Again, we continue with our awareness creation. Okay. Don't forget our speed limiters coming up very soon. All such vehicles must install speed limiters in their vehicle so that permanently we will control the speed of such trucks. Because sometimes they move at a speed injurious to themselves and to the society. So we are doing all these things to ensure a return of sanity to the road.
Thank you very much, Assistant Corps Marshal Nselbonga Kwabio, for taking time out to help us discuss this issue over tanker and the menace they pose on our roads.
Thank you very much.
This is the NTA 2 News. We'll come back after this commercial break. Don't go away.
I believe in my country. The time is here and now to spread the message of hope across the land. Stay together as one. All the obstacles will disappear. Let's open up our hearts. Let's open up our hearts and cherish this piece of the earth that God has given us. I believe in Niger. I believe in Niger. This land is mine.
Many thanks for staying with us. The emergence of principal officers of the National Assembly has continued to generate divergent views across political divides in the country. Musa Toliat, in this report, takes a look at the development in the National Assembly and what it portends for deepening democracy in Nigeria.
It is no longer news that Senator Bukola Saraki of the All Progressives Congress (APC) emerged unanimously as the Senate President, while Senator Ike Ekweremadu of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) was elected as the Deputy Senate President. Yakubu Dogara defeated Femi Gbajabiamila to emerge Speaker of the House of Representatives, while Yusuf Lassun is the Deputy Speaker. However, respondents believe that the development in the National Assembly is capable of strengthening the nation's democratic rule.
Absolutely democracy at work. It's not like that kind of a rubber stamp kind of a thing. And allow the people to express themselves. It draws a very clean line between the party politics and Nigerian politics, as it were.
The political party also, on the other hand, have a right to look at the popular demand of the people, where they want and what they want.
What happens to the national politics is no longer in the hands of a few. Not that a party or someone, the godfather in the party, decides what happens to the generality of Nigerians.
Former Special Advisor on National Assembly Matters, Senator Florence Itagiwa, however, says there is need for the ruling party to steer clear of any maneuverings and allow the National Assembly to settle into legislative duties.
So if you go in now to interfere, you're either going to cause a divide which sincerely would continue for the tenure of this government. So the best thing is to leave them alone and just watch out how it plays out and allow them legislate. They've chosen their leader, allow them.
Senator Itagiwa therefore urged the executive to do everything possible to develop and nurture cordial relationship with the legislature. This, she says, can only guarantee dividends of democracy for Nigerians.
Both parties are, kind of fusing together to cooperate with each other. So if you can nurture that and keep it up, then the issue of numerical strength will not come up to play. Get the National Assembly members involved from the embryonic stage of any policy. You cannot have that change without the cooperation of National Assembly. You must pass your bills. But once you go and antagonize any group, then you have difficulty in passing your bills.
As part of measures to tackle insurgency and terror, President Muhammadu Buhari met with leaders of Chad, Niger, and Benin Republic in Abuja. The report.
The meeting at the instance of President Muhammadu Buhari has been attended by presidents of Chad, Niger, and Benin Republic, while the president of Cameroon is being represented by the country's defense minister. The summit is part of the renewed commitment of the Lake Chad region to bring to a logical end the activities of insurgents in the region for peace and economic development of member states. The summit is looking at the way forward, among other proposals, including the operational modalities, the multinational joint task force based in N'Djamena, Chad, and the funding of the joint task force. President Buhari, in his opening remarks, urged member countries to double their efforts in the fight against Boko Haram. The chairman of the Authority of Heads of State and Government, Mohamedou Issoufou of Niger, had expressed appreciation on behalf of the Commission for the Regional Cooperation Tackling Insecurity in the region.
The sum of $30 million, an equivalent of almost 6 trillion naira, is required to set up and sustain the multinational task force for the next year. Executive Secretary of the Lake Chad Basin Commission, Sanusi Abdullahi, disclosed this at a meeting of Ministers of Defense, Chiefs of Defense Staff, and Heads of Intelligence and Security Services in Lake Chad Basin Commission and Benin Republic in Abuja. KG Busari Ahmed reports.
Significant developments in the gains already achieved in the fight against Boko Haram necessitates that we maintain the current tempo through the full operationalization of the multinational joint task force. The total amount required to set up and sustain the multinational joint task force headquarters for the next 12 months is estimated to be about $30 million.
A sustainable socio-economic growth of any nation, it is said that there must be peace and harmony as the nation thrives under the reign of war and insecurity. With the collective efforts of the multinational joint task force of the Lake Chad Basin Commission and the Republic of Benin, the menace of Boko Haram insurgency has continued to reduce. Therefore, they say there is every need to sustain and consolidate such effort if terrorism must become history in the sub-region. Hence, the ministers of defense, chiefs of defense staff and heads of intelligence and security services of the LCBC have renewed their resolve to tackle the challenge in the sub-region. This, the permanent secretary, Ministry of Defense, says it is achievable.
Nigeria made a pledge, and very soon Nigeria will redeem its pledge. The level of cooperation is excellent.
However, the sub-regional body says the troop contributing countries will be responsible for equipping and sustaining the battalion. The meeting, which is preparatory to that of the heads of states of Niger, Chad, Cameroon and Benin Republic, with Nigeria as a host, will be held in Abuja on Thursday to ratify decisions. In Abuja, KG Busari Ahmed, NTA News.
A group of lawyers under the auspices of 100 Lawyers and Civil Society Group have discredited the Amnesty International report on Nigerian Army. The group also asked Amnesty International to withdraw the report as its authenticity cannot be credibly ascertained. The group made this known at a press briefing in Lagos. The report.
The leaders of the 100 Lawyers and Civil Society Group, represented by Aham Unjoku, told the gathering that there is no iota of credible evidence in the Amnesty International report against Nigeria Army released to the International Criminal Court to show that the generals at any time gave orders to commit the alleged atrocity during their fight against Boko Haram insurgents.
We call on the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation not to act on the report of AI, as it is not credible and cannot be relied upon in this present case. We call on all Nigerians to remain resolute in the support of our patriotic military in the fight against terrorism.
The group leaders also said Amnesty International failed to acknowledge the fact that Boko Haram is not a conventional army, but terrorists inflicting terror on Nigerians.
No basis to hold that the Nigerian Army General committed a crime against humanity.
The President looks at this report internally to ensure that the appropriate steps is taken.
They also commended President Buhari on his resolve to fight insurgency and his efforts to restore peace in the crisis-prone regions of Nigeria.
Nigeria's Flying Eagles crash out of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in New Zealand as National Sports Commission moves to support physically challenged athletes. Details with Kene Imagbudike.
The Director General of National Sports Commission, Al-Hassan Yakmout, says the commission would provide adequate support and attention to physically challenged athletes in the country as a means of encouraging them to win more laurels in subsequent games. Yakmout, who made this assertion when he paid a courtesy call on the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women Development and Social Welfare, Ezekiel Oyemomi, in Abuja during the week, said disabled athletes deserve proper integration in the society. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria have crashed out to a superior German team in the round of 16 at the ongoing FIFA Under-20 Championship New Zealand 2015. A first-half strike by Levin Ostenali was all the Germans needed to book a date with another West African side, Mali, in the quarterfinals. Some ex-internationals who spoke to NTA Sport said the team lost the match from the bench.
That technical crew were compromised because there were better players to play, and for whatever reason they did not play them.
We didn't play enough to win them, so we'll just lick our wounds, go back to the drawing board. As soon as they come back, we'll get the ones who believe that can help us with the under-23s, and then we'll move from there.
In the other games of the day, Brazil moved on after a 5-4 scoreline on penalties against Uruguay following goalless 2 hours of action in New Plymouth. Portugal earned a worthy 2-1 victory to break the hearts of host New Zealand, while Dostonbek Kamdamov scored a brace against Austria to send Uzbekistan into the quarterfinals. Action continues in the competition on Sunday after a 2-day rest, with Brazil up against Portugal as Uzbekistan face Senegal. USA will confront Serbia while Mali file out against Germany. With Sports Update, Kanayima Bodike, NTA News.
Thank you, Kene, for that report. And in our earlier report on the multinational task force, the sum of $30 million, an equivalent of almost 6 billion naira, is required to set up and sustain the multinational task force for the next year. And that's the much we can take on the news tonight. Many thanks for watching. Good evening.